In a world of media malfeasance, AI slop, and the rise of AGI, what is truth? That is a question that is thousands of years old, and one that humanity has often failed to answer well. Today, we're going to look at the Carmelo Anthony story, and we're going to look at the most recent swath of AI slop and what it says about not only the media, we're going to look at some media slop, but it also says about our gullibility and what's coming in the future years. And so we want to talk a bit about the Christian and AI, along with the Carmelo Anthony story. We're going to go through some history with Nikki Knows Facts, some shenanigans with Steve, answering some of your questions on some of your most important and pressing issues in the great outdoors, a song review with Ryan's reviews, and of course the Screw Tape letter. So let's get into it. Jonathan Fiala for Further Every Day. Miss Nikki, how's it going?
It is going very well. It's a good day.
It is a good day.
Glad to be here.
Glad that you are here. Glad that I am here. I've been up since 2, so if I slur my words, it's not you, it's me. Charlie, how's it going?
You're tired. You're jet lagged.
A little bit.
A little bit.
We
need to get you a Monster drink or something.
So actually Bang, not sponsored, or Celsius have no sugar in them, so you don't crash nearly.
That's good.
Man, I can't drink those Monsters.
I can't either.
Well, the sugar-free ones are probably a lot better than the sugared ones. The sugared ones are terrible. Steve, how's it going?
Man, it's going great, John Arthur. Good to have you here today, brother, and glad you had a safe trip. I'm ready to be politically incorrect and bring the shenanigans on, brother.
I was going to say, we're getting rid of mosquitoes today.
I'm looking forward to it. So if you want to know how to get rid of mosquitoes in your backyard through proper design and first principles, stick around. How's it going, Rai, the producer guy?
I'm doing good. How are you, John Arthur?
We're doing well.
Glad you could make it.
For now, glad I could make it. I literally got off the plane. So, all right, we're going to talk about a little bit about the Carmelo Anthony trial story. And this is something I saw. I was out of town for a family event, wedding, and I saw the headline slide by, and I thought, wow, this is a new low, but I need to go and look to see if this is real. Mr. Producer, first cut, just go ahead and throw it up there. I saw these images. Go ahead and go through these cuts. F. Austin Metcalf, and this woman supposedly is peeing on his grave. I said, wow, this is a new low. Next one, Mr. Producer. Again, you see someone saying, ass Austin and ally. I don't fully understand that, but keep going. You can see all of these images. One more, just so you can see them. This is what is being circulated on social media. Now, these are supposedly AI generated. The actual gravesite has not been desecrated. But a lot of people believe that this actually happened. And there's a lot of conservatives who are very, very angry and outraged. And look, you should be, but not for that reason.
Well, it upsets me as a mother. I would be horrified, but it is AI generated, but it just shows you how despicable.
In some ways, it's more despicable because you didn't have the guts to go do it yourself. You had to go.
Well, if you did it yourself, you'd be getting arrested because you can't do that.
They have no actual force behind their conviction.
But I think that there's, if the parents wanted to sue for emotional.
Well, you can't do that to in a graveyard. That's
you can't.
You can't. It's vile, it's evil, and it should be reprehensible. But people are saying that they're doing it, and they're posting these images, and it's like, aha, well, it's AI. So a lot of people took the bait on this. And the Carmelo Anthony trial specifically, we've been waiting to get to it because it finally, actually, we have a verdict. Let's go ahead and look at the news story on how that verdict passed, and we'll go ahead and go from there.
Why are we here? What are we here for? Because if we take up for ourselves, we go to jail. If we don't, we die. So it's a catch-22 in this situation. What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do.
Tonight, emotions boiling over outside the courthouse. Protesters in each other's faces, some openly weeping. and for others, relief that justice was served.
You think this is justice for Austin?
I believe so.
As a Texas jury finds 19-year-old Carmelo Anthony guilty of murder for stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet last year. Numerous witnesses said Anthony instigated the confrontation, the prosecution calling his actions unjustified and intentional, telling the jury, you don't get to meet a shove with a stab, especially if you provoke the shove. In closing arguments Tuesday, the defense again tried to portray Metcalf as the aggressor, that he made physical contact first, and Anthony defended himself in a split second of chaos. What was it like?
What was it like?
When the verdict was read.
I feel like it was designed to protect white people, the system, and it was not designed to protect black people. It's self-defense.
Supporters of Anthony have raised concerns for a fair trial after no black people were seated on the jury. Inside the courtroom, tears from both families. Anthony's mother described as weeping, later asking the court to please have mercy on my son.
So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad that we have a situation where, hey, you're in the wrong bleacher, your team's over there, I need you to leave, and push me. You'll regret it. Push, stab. That, for some reason, that's acceptable. For some reason, that is justified, and that is something that people are willing to at least fake desecrate the grave of someone over. We have a very, very sick society, and unfortunately, it doesn't get any better when we believe the lie that the peeing on the grave actually happened. Okay, that actually makes it a little bit worse. We want to make sure that we stick to truth, and we need to be able to read truth when it happens. Yes, Steve?
Yeah, what gets me is that type of reaction is to people is that's acceptable of a reaction to teenage kid messing around.
Yeah.
Say, even if the kid is cussing him, even if whatever language he's using, or even if he's pushing him, that is not force for force reaction. You don't stab somebody for pushing you.
Well,
you
defense,
hit them back. I mean, that's what you do.
The defense that has been levied, and Jasmine Crockett came out and said, basically, it's hard to be a black person and you don't understand. Therefore, we can use excessive force. Is the underlying assumption. I actually want to hear from Mr. Metcalf, and we're going to play in just a moment the clip that's been taken out of context, and the watermelon felon claim is what you see plastered all over the tabloid news. Mr. Metcalf says watermelon felon about Carmelo Anthony. I actually want to play out of this 3-hour interview what came before he said watermelon felon. And then we're going to play the clip where he says that. I think we got everything cut out as far as the profanity, because we try to make this family friendly as much as possible. Mr. Producer, go ahead and play the clip before he said the watermelon felon bit.
Drew Anthony, Kayla, you're cowards. You wouldn't even show up for your son's sentencing or victim statement impact. You abandoned your kid. You left him there. I guess he's no more use to you because you can't get any more GoFundMe money or GoSendGo money. You are grifters. You should be ashamed of yourself. You raised that child, and I swear to God, CPS should come check on those other 3 that you still have. You never once admitted or took accountability. You tried to play victim. The real victim is the one who died, not the one who shoved a knife in his chest. I come to pray with you and show the world we can close the gap of this unbelievable racial divide. And what'd you do? You widen the gap even further. You hire a convicted baby shaking felon who's only in it for the money, who gives you bad advice, kicks me out of a press conference. Oh, funny. I was somewhere I wasn't supposed to be, but I left when asked. I didn't stab anyone. And then you proceeded to gaslight me with your convicted felon, quote, advocate? Minister? Minister of what? Minister irrelevant? Minister of bull? How about Minister you? Y'all think I'm a saint? I'm no saint. I'm as human as you. I have emotions. Just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I don't sin, because I don't walk on water and I don't turn it to wine.
So there's a lot of people who have taken their time to criticize Mr. Metcalf. Shut up. Like,
For what?
For being a Christian and talking that way. You know what? The guy's had a bad week, a bad year.
The guy's a human.
He's a human. Like, maybe be quiet. And so this is what he said before he said watermelon felon. And I want to go ahead and play the watermelon felon bit that's been circulating online. All of these pundits have been reacting to and saying, oh, he's such a racist. It's this, it's that. Go ahead and play that clip, and then I want to get the panel's opinion.
Let me make one up. Y'all can make let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about watermelon felon? How's that one strike you?
So he literally goes on to say, he started off with, y'all hang on to the stupidest crap. He didn't say crap. He said, how about watermelon felon? You guys want to have something to hang your hat on. You want something to call me racist over. I've been sitting here praying for you, offering a handshake. And what you've done is deepen the divide and open it up. And look, there's also a lot of conservative commentators who said, you should have seen this coming, Mr. Metcalf. They don't like you. They don't love you. I think he made a good faith effort. I think he did everything humanly possible to have some sort of reconciliation with the family. And all they've done is allegedly they bought this huge property, this huge car, all from the Give, Send, Go, GoFundMe type funds that have been generated. Yep. So,
spend it on themselves.
What do you believe right now in the era of AI slop, of clickbait, where the guy literally says, let me give you something to clickbait. Let me go ahead and try. And they immediately take it. You're living in a world full of liars. And we need to start thinking about this from the perspective of you cannot trust the media. You cannot trust. You have to do due diligence. It's like I said, I was telling y'all before we started, I saw those images of the people peeing. I'm like, okay, now I need to go look at the story to get the whole story, because I don't know what I believe. Because there's people on the right that would make that just for clicks.
Yep.
There's people on the right who would make that just for clicks, and it wouldn't even be true. I say on the right. There's a lot of offshore accounts that claim to be on the right. By the way, on X, watch out for that. There's a lot of those accounts that are not American, and they claim to be, and they're interfering in American politics, and they're stoking racial tensions. Like, look at RT out of Russia. They're playing this stuff nonstop. Why are they doing that? Well, Russia really likes us being discontent. They like us to be in
chaos.
So they like the chaos.
Sure.
And I forget who said this, but they said a good psyop from a foreign nation will always come from a real point of contention within the opposing nation's culture.
That sounds like something Sun Tzu would say.
They're always going to pick at something that's actually a soft spot, a sore spot in that culture, and try to build a divide off of that. It's already there. Why not pound the wedge in further? So how do we handle this sort of disinformation? Because it's getting harder. It's getting a lot harder to actually understand what is real and what's not. Just from a phone screen, those images looked real enough.
Yeah, the problem is that the clicks and clickbait is quick and fast, but research takes time, and we live in a drive-through society. Nobody wants to do a crock-pot investigation on
Correct.
what is the truth. And so gullible. People are naive and they're gullible, and they've been taught to respond to their emotions and not common sense.
Yeah.
Any good person who can debate, any good person who can interact with other people, you need to put your emotions aside and look at things through common sense. And we just don't have that anymore. I mean, this is, the video of the people yelling and screaming. You notice it was all zeroed in on a few people. It wasn't like they expanded, because I don't really think there was large crowds there. I think there was a few, and so they made it look like there's all this stuff going on. And it would not even surprise me if it was staged.
Maybe.
I think the big thing, though, that we have to be careful with, you may be tempted while you're visiting your X feed or your Facebook feed or whatever. I would not click the forward.
Be careful.
You need to be really careful with that, because that's where you contribute to the issue
Correct.
at hand. And so if you're not confident of what it is,
Verify
leave it
before
alone.
you send. I had a family member who I love dearly, and sometimes he watches the show, but he sent me a bit on hantavirus, and he says, hantavirus, you know what hanta means in Hebrew? It means deception. And I'm like, you know what hanta means in South Korea, where the virus was originally contracted? Maybe you should start with that.
Start there.
And maybe you should go there, and people make these things up, and it's like, oh, it's the Jews again. Guys, hanta comes from the Korean River, where the hanta virus was first contracted. Has nothing to do with the Hebrew language or Jews.
Man, didn't you know it's always the Jews?
It's always the Jews. I stubbed my toe this morning. It was the Jews.
That's right.
That's so all of that to say, you do your point. No service by sending stuff without vetting it. And in the age of AI, it's going to become a lot harder. And what we're seeing is a new sort of transhumanist Tower of Babel forming. And I want to kind of slide over into this next segment that Charlie has set up for us.
Let me just say something, though, about Mr.
Metcalf,
real quick, if you don't mind. The Bible says to walk circumspectly. It means don't give the devil an opportunity against you. And I'm not criticizing. I'm not trying to. Mr. Metcalf is going through a lot of emotional stuff, and I feel really bad about it. But giving the devil an opportunity to use your words against you, taken out of context. Remember, they crucified Christ because they took things out of context.
Yeah.
They took the law out of context. So Satan, that's the best play that Satan has. And so just remember that in the future.
that was the first sin, was taking God out of context.
Yes.
I'd just like to make this comment about what you had mentioned about Jasmine Crockett, about saying her comment about that we don't understand what it's like to be black. Don't have to understand what it's like to be black to understand that you don't settle arguments by stabbing people. Is that what the black culture has fallen down to, is by settling arguments by stabbing each other?
It's a really,
really?
It's a really bad cop out.
It is.
I mean,
And
come on,
and it
really?
has a very negative implication to it.
I mean, that,
You don't really want to go there, Jasmine.
exactly. I mean, really?
She's your poster child for a great debater.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Said no one ever. But continue on.
That was satire, folks. That was
Extreme.
satire. But we need to look at a pretty provocative question here. And Ryan, if you could put that up there. It's a question that many people probably have not really considered, and it's a question that really deserves some attention. And I like what one YouTuber, Ryan Hall, y'all always says when it comes to severe weather. Don't be scared, be prepared. That's pretty simple. It's reassuring. All right. It's simple, reassuring, brings some levity for the upcoming moment. And we're approaching one of those same kinds of moments today. And this one doesn't relate to weather, though. This relates to AI. And so here's the question that I really want to bring forth here. When mankind builds something powerful enough to change the world, are we exercising God-given creativity, or are we repeating the mistake of Babel? That's fascinating, because the problem at Babel wasn't bricks, it wasn't technology, it wasn't innovation. There was one key problem: motivation. That was the problem. Notice their stated goals in Genesis 11:4. And they said, "Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." Now look at that. "And let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name." The project was rooted in self-exaltation. It came against God. Progress without God, security without God, identity without God. Mm-hmm. That's what Babel was about. Babel was mankind's attempt to show that God was not needed and could rise to his level on its own terms, basically saying, we're as good as you, God. And that brings us to AI. What makes AI different than other world-changing ideas? Oh yes, I'm sure you are thinking about the printing press, how it changed mankind. You're thinking about steam engines, how they radically changed how people move from one area to another and how they get work done on the farm. I hear you. You're thinking about electricity, radio, television, and the internet. But I suggest to you that AI is a little different. We're not merely extending our physical, we're extending our minds. Think about this. For the first time in human history, humanity is creating tools that can write, compose music, analyze information, generate images, we just saw some, make decisions, and imitate conversations. Now, here's another key question. Is AI evil? I would submit to you, no. It's amoral. Just like the printing press, just like radio, just like television, just like money. No, AI is not evil. So what's the big deal? Why did God come down on the Tower of Babel? That's a great question. We find the answer in verse 6 of Genesis 11. "And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do." Did you see it? "And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do." There's another moment in Scripture that bears a striking resemblance to Babel. It takes us all the way back to the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. I want you to notice the similarities. In Eden, mankind reached for something that belonged to God. In Babel, mankind united to accomplish something apart from God. In both cases, the issue was not compatibility. The issue was autonomy, or can we say self-government. In Genesis 11, man has one language. Man has the ability to quickly communicate, to share knowledge, and to share a common purpose. A case can be made that we have those now without AI. And that's largely true, not necessarily completely true. We have the ability to communicate pretty quickly. We have the ability to share knowledge pretty fast. But look at the last piece. Do we have a common purpose? Or perhaps the better question is, who gets to define that purpose? AI can tell us how to do something. It cannot tell us whether we should do it. AI can help us pursue a goal. It cannot tell us whether the goal is righteous. AI cannot tell us what is good. It cannot tell us what is evil. It cannot tell us what is true. It cannot tell us what is worth pursuing. And this is where Babel becomes relevant, because if mankind is once again building tools that can unite knowledge and accelerate communication, amplify human capability on a global scale, then perhaps the most important question is not what AI can do. The most important question is, what does humanity intend to do with it? And perhaps an even deeper question is this: who will decide what humanity should do? So, with some of those things there, guys, I want to get into cut number 26, I believe, Ryan. Now, before you bring that up,
Interestingly, you wrote this.
My bad.
No, it's okay. I want to bring out a couple things. Number one, this was an interview that Stephen Bartlett did, Diary of a CEO with John Lennox. Phenomenal interview. That link will be in the description on the YouTube and the Rumble. I would encourage you to give that a watch. It was it's one of the best interviews I've ever seen. I saw other people respond, and they basically said epic, and I could agree with that. It was that good. John Lennox has actually written about AI. If you don't know who John Lennox is, I want to just give you a brief little synopsis. He's a mathematician from Oxford, and he's what, 75?
He's up there.
80?
He's up there.
He is
Probably
really
pushing 80.
He's been doing this for a long time, too.
A long time.
Really good guy.
Really good guy. And I would encourage you to just look at some of his material. But he was being interviewed by Stephen Bartlett. And I thought the way that Stephen started that podcast, I thought was really good. And the comments that John Lennox made were phenomenal. In this clip, it's 3.5 minutes, so we're going to let it play out, but I want you to note there was one spot that Stephen Bartlett's team brought up a little banner at the bottom. I blurred that out. I didn't blur it out to try to hide anything. I encourage you to watch the video. I blurred it out because the comments that John Lennox was making at that very moment were very powerful and needed to be listened to. When you're watching something on YouTube, you can hit the pause, right? You can read the banner. You can't do that when you're listening to us here. So I blurred that out. I want you to go back and watch it, but Ryan, go ahead and bring this up. Let's watch this clip.
Interestingly, you wrote this book and the word AI is on it. It says God, AI, and the end of history. Why are you so concerned, dare I say, about artificial intelligence as a leading pioneer in maths and sort of philosophical thinking?
Well, because I'm interested in the bigger picture. Anything that raises questions about the nature of human identity. And I was first struck by the drive for artificial general intelligence. It's really become it looks as if it's the prime motivation of people like Sam Altman and so on. It is really hitting the headlines. But within that, there's the notion of transhumanism.
What does that mean?
The idea is that we go beyond the human. One of our most famous astronomers, Royal, he put it this way. He says in the distant future, it won't be organic brains, it'll be machine brains. And he seriously believes, as do a number of scientists who are not science fiction authors, that there will be some kind of merger between humanity and machines to have a transhuman, something that's beyond the human, and something that is, they hope, super intelligent, got all the human properties and much more. Now, one of the people who's spreading that kind of transhumanist vision is the Israeli historian Yuval Noah Harari. And he's written a book called Homo Deus, the man God. And that really made me prick up my ears, because I know enough about this book here, the Bible, to realize that the drive for humans towards self-deification is,
Self-deification.
yes, making themselves gods. And you see it all through history. The ancient Babylonian emperors were regarded as gods. The Roman emperors started calling themselves gods and all the rest of it. And what Harari says is the 21st century has two big purposes. Number one, to solve the problem of physical death as a technical problem.
To solve death.
Yes, solve death. Physical death is, in his view, a technical problem, and we'll solve it. The second agenda item, and he calls them agenda items for the 21st century, is to increase human happiness by bioengineering, cyborg engineering, mechanical implants, all this kind of thing, and turning humans, quote, into gods with a small g. In other words, this is the drive for a super intelligent human. We've only got started. And his point is, and from his atheist perspective, one can understand it immediately, evolution, unguided natural processes have brought us to this point. Now we're going to take it into our hands, and we're going to engineer humanity into the future very rapidly to approach this superhuman thing.
That is a very telling 3.5 minutes.
So what I really appreciate about John Lennox is he's looking to the ontology, the issue of nature and purpose, or of nature and existence. And I think he would probably agree with this statement. Once you have a Neuralink implanted into your mind and you have offloaded your mental faculties to AI, people are doing this without Neuralink, right? People are doing this without Neuralink. They are completely forgetting how to write and read and research, and they're forgetting their cooking recipes because they're offloading that mental cognitive ability to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever your favorite AI is. Imagine having that embedded into your brain on a subscription, no less. It would functionally be no different than being demonically possessed. If you can hear and think to it, and you have offloaded your mental faculties to it, you are now possessed by that company. You are owned. You are controlled. You are under the influence, possessed by Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, whoever it is. And people are going to do this. There are people who are that stupid. And forgive me if you love AI, I do too. Okay,
I think
I use it a lot.
Some of the good here in a minute,
but functionally, it is no different than inviting a demon into your soul than it is to offload all of your cognitive abilities. And people are doing it without Neuralink. Imagine how much further it'll go when the transhumanist mindset. The objective is you're going to be fully merged with the machine. And your mind is going to be inextricably linked and eventually transferred into a machine. But if they have the ability to program what you've offloaded your mental and cognitive faculties to, you are nothing more than a drone, a slave. You will eat bugs, own nothing, and be happy.
And by the way, the eating bugs thing is real.
They're moving.
That is being done
right now.
Is it the Netherlands? I believe it is. The Netherlands.
They're trying to eat more.
They're
bugs.
pushing the bugs. Eat the bugs.
Bug burger.
Yep.
Bug burgers.
Bug burgers.
I want to go back to the comment that John Lennox made. The issue of man wanting to be gods. Now, the thing is, and reconcile that with what you just said, because that was really well said. Reconcile that with what you just said, and the question becomes, who are the gods?
Correct.
And the gods would be who?
Those who decide what good from evil, who understand good and evil.
Let me take that a step further.
That's
The
Garden of
ones
Eden.
that are writing
The program.
the program.
Right.
Yep.
The ones
Yep.
who own it.
Yep.
So think about this, guys. Your Sam Altmans.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
can I say this at the risk of ticking some people off? Your Elon Musk. He's the one that's doing the Neuralink. So do you want those people really becoming the arbiter of morality?
Of reality itself.
In reality.
And
of your reality, of what you perceive to be reality.
And they're supposed to be the gods, and how much sin do they have?
Right. No,
you know what I
there's-
mean?
They're
Of
not
good and arbiters of good and evil. Really?
We're talking about people who are doing birthday suit rides in Portland. I mean, we're
Right.
talking about Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
We're doing a really good friend of mine. She was telling me her coworkers were talking about going out to one of those birthday suit bicycling events.
Oh my goodness.
For Pride, and it's like the imagine those people being in charge of what's right and what's wrong, of what you perceive as reality.
I don't want to live in that kind of world.
You do.
Right?
It's called living in a world where all of your information is funneled through Google. Look at our own YouTube channel, Mr. Producer. You and I were talking about this before we started. We can't even find on desktop, we can't even find our most recent episodes because they have deemed whatever the algorithm is doing, it is removing some of our episodes from our own front page. And with YouTube, they say, you're free here and you spend money here and we'll advertise you and whatever, but you can be free here. This is the marketplace of ideas and we're not a publisher. We're like a telephone company. But then they start to edit those things. So imagine those people who lie, cheat, steal from you. Now, as you offload all of your and cognitive capabilities to ChatGPT through your phone or through your speech to text or whatever, eventually the idea for transhumanism, and by the way, I looked into this as a young teenager. Part of this is really fascinating. It sounds interesting. It sounds hopeful. It sounds beautiful until you realize who's behind it and what they want.
Yep.
And that they want to dehumanify and they want to glorify man to the state of God.
Ryan, please bring up cut number 27 there. I want to read this verse. For God
That's
doth
what they
know
wanna tell you.
that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. That's Genesis 3:5. And Lennox brings up the concerns that man will solve the technical aspects of death. Man will try to redesign humanity and will strive to become something greater than human. Man wants to become superhuman. I find it interesting of that comment that, and by the way, Lennox is not advocating that death is technical. He was quoting another author from a book about that. So he's not advocating that. But I guess what really interests me here is those are the echoes of the Garden of Eden in the Tower of Babel. Are they not?
It is. Yes.
I think so, because it when you look at the parallels, it's incredible. So who are some of the characters in the Bible that we see that were wanting to be gods or thought they were gods? I think of Pharaoh, number one, in Egypt.
Well, he was told he was a god.
Yep.
The pharaohs were. It was believed that they were a god in their culture. Their culture. So yes.
I think another candidate is Nebuchadnezzar.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally thought he was. And he had a come to Jesus meeting in the cliche where he found out he wasn't. And
Did
God
you say Herod? I was reading the chat. Herod
Yeah.
thought he was a god.
Yeah.
Yes.
And his bowels came out his,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oops.
Womp womp.
Guess he wasn't.
Guess he wasn't.
I think you could go back even to Hitler. That's what they were trying to.
Oh, that's an
create
interesting.
The superhuman is and using the Jews as to experiment on, and their idea was to create a superhuman.
Now, I'm gonna relate. So I'm gonna chase a rabbit for just a moment here. For those that love movies and whatnot, we have a segment where we do song reviews, and we say that you should be careful about what you're listening to. Can I just say, we probably ought to be careful about what we watch.
Yeah.
Because
any media you consume, what you
Yeah.
read, what you listen to, what you watch.
Because what is Captain Marvel? Just asking. Superhuman.
Right.
That's really what he is. And I find it interesting that Hollywood seems to get some of the future right.
What about Captain America?
That's
There you
one.
go.
I didn't mean, although she qualifies too. I was thinking Captain America.
I was like,
I'm sorry, I got my captains.
That's okay.
Screwed up.
I got you covered.
Well, I've got Rai, the
got
producer
you.
guy over
Sorry,
there.
big
He's got-
superhero nerd over here.
He was asleep at the wheel. You remember? You
Yep.
remember that group asleep at the wheel? Mm-hmm. Probably,
Yeah.
Y'all probably don't remember.
Don't
that.
remember that one.
No.
Ryan, cut number 28, please. I want
Anybody
to give
in
you,
the chat remember that?
Yeah, right?
Asleep at the wheel.
Let's give you a definition here of transhumanism. And this comes from Wikipedia, and I'm not saying these are right. By the way, I thought Lennox gave a pretty good one there. But this is what you see in Wikipedia, is a philosophical movement that advocates the enhancement of the human condition by developing and making widely available new and future technologies to enhance longevity, cognition, and well-being. Influenced by seminal works of science fiction, the transhumanist vision of a transformed future, humanity has many supporters and detractors from a wide range of perspectives, including philosophy and religion. Some critics argue that transhumanism amounts to little more than new eugenics. Ooh, point made. Good point there. Go to cut number 29, Ryan. Let's look at that second one. This coming from Britannica. Philosophical and scientific movement that advocates the use of current and emerging technologies, such as genetic engineering, cryonics, artificial intelligence, AI, and nanotechnology, to segment human capabilities and improve the human condition. Transhumanism envisions a future in which the responsible application of such technologies enables humans to slow, reverse, or eliminate the aging process. Can you say gods again? To achieve corresponding increases in human lifespans and to enhance human cognitive and sensory capacities. The movement proposes that humans with augmented capabilities will evolve into an enhanced species that transcends humanity, the post-human. And I think this lines up very good with what Lennox was speaking there at the beginning of that cut. So the question, has AI given humanity unprecedented tools to pursue the same autonomy that was sought in Garden in Babel?
Sounds like, you know what it sounds like? A time that God will be destroying the earth, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because I would advocate that the temptation is ancient. It's the same thing.
There's
but the
nothing
scale,
new under the sun.
Yeah, that's right. The scale is new. The scale is way faster.
And that's the biggest issue is someone made a comment, and I'm trying to remember where the comment came from, if it was a pundit or if it was someone that I just recently heard, but the comment really resonated with me. The more people learn, the more they turn into themselves and build their own opinions.
That's really good.
And they start to fractionalize.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I've really noted. This was specifically in regards to textual criticism and Christianity and how people will tend to pick and choose what they believe, and they'll create their own bastardized Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
But it does happen with AI, and as a thought experiment, it doesn't even have to be a thought experiment. You can just look at all the people who go into Chat GPT psychosis, creating their own version of reality.
Yes.
And when it it comes into contact with true reality, it ends up very sad. These people commit suicide, or they do horrible things. They cheat on their spouses or whatever. But the more you learn, if it's not underneath, if it's not submitted to God, what you end up having is something that falls in on itself, but it's created by the individual. And we actually, the more we are connected, the more lonely people become. You have more access on your phone to people than anyone else has in history. You can be seen or talk to 1 million people, 1 billion people, it's all right there. But people are experiencing loneliness on a level that is so much higher than it ever has been.
It's a false reality.
It is, and I think that leads to your higher suicide rates.
Well, we do know that the studies at that screen time for young people and even adults is not good. The studies are proven you need to get off your screens. You need to get away from your phones. You need to stop listening to all.
You need to get back in the woods.
Yeah.
Especially when you're
touch
young.
grass.
Touch grass.
Yes.
Got to actually get out and do something with real people and not the fake dopamine hamster wheel.
That there is the key, the dopamine issue.
It's this hamster wheel that rewards you for continuing to destroy your brain. Short form content they're doing studies, and I want to be careful, but allegedly consuming short form content and getting that dopamine reward and going to the next piece shortens the context window of your mind. And that is something that maybe all of us need to think about.
Yep.
Before we turn on social media.
Because we get to a point where we can't articulate a larger idea.
And
we've made it so we've microscoped it. There you go.
Yeah.
We can't see the forest. We can only see the tree around us.
And it's also shown that it destroys the myelin in young people.
And it prevents it from forming.
Correct.
So the issue with some of this AI stuff, in there's other areas where we've seen ethical questions. Okay, everybody remember Dolly?
Mm-hmm.
The sheep.
The sheep that was cloned.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And what a lot of people don't realize, what was the end goal in that?
Well, humans.
It really was.
You're hoping to be able to clone
humans.
That's
human organs and tissue. And look, organ harvesting from a human host that is not actually doesn't have a brain sounds like a very humane and good thing. It sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you know that genetic material is truly not human and that you aren't doing some sort? I'm just saying, it can't think if it doesn't have a brain. Noted. But commodifying the human body is a very, very dangerous and slippery slope. It's scary. And they weren't planning on just commodifying the human body. They were talking about being able to create host and donor bodies entirely, in total.
And I totally agree with what you just said. That was one of the end goals. I want to take it a step further, and this is part of that
immortality. It's immortality.
Eugenics.
Yeah,
it's the issue of being able to take a person with the right DNA, and creating a better person yet.
Yeah,
that to me is where that was going to end up. But what's really interesting to know, out of all the tests that were done to get Dolly cloned, there were 277. She was the only one that succeeded.
So what happened to her, though? I don't.
She died. She lived 16 years.
Did she?
Yep.
That's a full life for a sheep.
Yep.
But they haven't done it again.
To my knowledge.
Well, they haven't published anything on it since. And so there's a whole bunch of people that believe that the cloning has continued and moved on to humans, but there's no external evidence of that.
Okay, so if we had a successful cloning and she lived for 16 years, does it not seem odd that there would not be more of it?
Yeah, it does.
And does it seem possible that maybe this was deception and to begin with, and that's why there's not more cloning?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
there's a question.
Maybe.
Those are
Yep.
just questions.
Because it would be a great feat for, but the only big thing is the cost and the sheer amount that they had to do to get the one.
That's
So,
exactly the
we'll see.
the thing.
We'll see
about
what really comes out about that, because I suspect that they have continued that vigorously, and they're just not publishing on it anymore.
Yeah, we'll
I
see.
think ultimately this whole thing comes down to worldview,
Yeah.
because the things that you brought up a moment ago, where do we draw the line on this? And I think that ultimately it's an issue of, do we, in the beginning, God, or in the beginning, man?
Yeah.
That is the ultimate issue. That's where we need to draw the line. And I would say for people listening and watching, you should not be afraid to use AI. You should make sure that you're using it the right way. And I think the other point that John Arthur brought up is, if you're yielding your mind to the point where it's being controlled, if you feel like you're being sucked in, that might be a really good point to stop and just get off it.
We need to seriously reconsider how much social media we consume and how
Yes.
much of our cognitive functions we offload to AI.
Yep.
Because I've watched people lose their cognitive abilities. They offload it and offload it. It's like a muscle. If you don't use it, it goes limp. It atrophies, and nothing comes of it. From there on out, it's done. Once you offload all of that to AI, unfortunately, it's very hard to get it back. And there's evidence to suggest that maybe it doesn't, which should frighten you. If you consistently rely on something or someone to tell you how to think and what to think, you stop thinking. You start accepting. You become more pliable. It means you're a great citizen to be taken over. So very, very bad.
Yes. I for the sake of time, because we got a lot of stuff to
go.
cover.
Go.
There's a couple of final thoughts that I would have here. The question is not whether AI will shape the future. I think we would all agree it's going to shape the future. It is another one of those computer-like moments. It's another one of those printing press moments, things like that. It's going to do it. The question is whether the people shaping that future will do so under the authority of God. And I think it's safe to say
No.
they will not.
No.
So
I have this to say about all of this. When God saw what the people were doing at Babel, he stopped it. And he brought the different languages, and they had to break up and move on. If God is concerned that if he was concerned back in the Old Testament, he would be concerned today, unless it's on the time frame for the end times. So if we're not on the schedule for the end times, this is not going to proceed and become a God, because God's going to interfere one way or the other, just like he did with the Tower of Babel.
Well,
go ahead.
That might be the end times. We'll see.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So we're either on the time frame for the end times, or this is going to, because this is what I keep we talk about at work. Okay, so everybody relies on AI, and then all of a sudden we don't have electricity anymore for some reason or another. What are we going to do?
see,
What are people going to do?
I think that something that Daniel said in one of our Bible studies, I keep going back to that. I just think about it. AI might take us right to the edge of the rapture. And I totally believe that
What?
that could
So
be true.
you've got to flesh that out a little bit. If you're going to air it out into the air, you have to flesh it out.
Well, the issue there is that we get to a point with AI, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's why I keep going back to it, is because I haven't flushed it out just yet.
You've got to flesh it out all the way.
All the way.
I would say this AI is going to make it very, very easy for deepfakes, for something to look like someone was assassinated when they weren't. Everyone who thinks that Charlie Kirk wasn't actually assassinated the way that the story says is evidence that we already do not trust. We already do not trust what we see with our own eyes because of our ability to do really good deep fakes.
And that would explain what the Bible says about the great deception.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
But when it comes to AI too, I want to bring out some of the good. If you think about some of the uses of AI for medical now,
Yeah.
huge helps and advances.
Yes.
Correct. So there are people who are walking. I believe it's Maroon 9 mentioned this in the chat.
Yep.
That there are a lot of people who are seeing benefits from Neuralink, and look, really good stuff.
Yes.
We're talking about the transhumanist agenda being bad. The tools are morally inert.
Mm-hmm.
It's what are
That's
you
the
doing?
key.
What are you doing?
That is
with
the
them?
key.
Yeah.
That is the key.
Yeah.
Yep. So I hope that gives everybody a little bit to think about there.
So
discussion.
let us know what you want us to cover next week. But for now, we're going to get into some history with Nikki Knows Facts.
Yes, we are. We
Dun,
are.
da, da, da.
That's not Nikki Knows Facts. You're gonna have to find it there, Bubbaloo.
We are traveling 250 years of America, and we are coming to the years of 1959 to 1975. Ryan,
Number
next
33,
one.
please.
We're going to talk a little bit about Lyndon B. Johnson and the Great Society, or known as the War on Poverty. Go ahead to the next one. Now, this is what we touched on this just a little bit last week, and I want to know, we're going to read some of these off, what the Great Society and the laws that were created. His goal here was to reduce poverty, improve education, provide greater opportunities for all Americans. Remember, we've gone through the civil rights movement, and we've enforced laws or created laws to give people more equal opportunity. So now we're going to create this, what he called the Great Society, the War on Poverty. And here's some of the legislation part of it. And let us know if you think this is good or this is bad. This was in the Economic Opportunity Act, which created Job Corps, VISTA, and 8 other programs to fight the war on poverty. Creating jobs is great. Getting people out there to work, to make money so they can support themselves and their family, that's a great idea. Tax Reduction Act, by a Democrat, by the way, cut income tax rates up to 30%, mostly going to the lower income Americans. It's a good idea. Give them more money. Let them become more self-supporting, right? The Civil Rights Act, we talked about that last week, outlawed discrimination in housing, employment in public accommodations. That's good. Like it. Wilderness Preservation Act. I do like this one. Protected 9.1 million acres of national forest. I love the national parks. Mm-hmm. I love wildlife. I think that we should have protection over these giant chunks of land that have been undisturbed by humans. I like it. Provided aid to school systems based on number of students from low-income homes, called the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. I like this too. I will tell you, today, I'm just going to put my opinion in there, whether you like it or not. I have the mic, so I get to say what I want.
Have the mic.
I have the mic.
Who gave her that?
Yeah.
Who?
I think
you did, John Arthur.
I think I did.
I do not like the way that we take care of our taxes for our education system. And if I'm wrong, correct me. But sometimes you have poor counties and then you have rich counties.
Sure.
And the rich counties are going to be able to provide more for their students than the poor counties. Well, if we want equal education, should we not send that taxation to the state and let it be divided equally among all the children?
No.
Okay.
No. I think the money should follow the child, or better yet, not take it in the first place.
There you go.
And then you leave it to the churches and the not-for-profits, because that's what they used to do. And as soon as they did this, our education system started going down the tubes. And Jimmy Carter finally did exactly what you're suggesting in the federal. And we went from number 1 to, what is it?
18?
Or 25. 25. I believe it's 25 in the world. We went from 1 to 25 in just a couple of decades. So it's a good thought. I think it should go back to the church And the church really needs to step up and actually do this.
But I think what you said a moment ago.
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, this goes back to the parents.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Parents.
I agree.
Yes.
Parents need to be involved with their children, their education. All right, moving on. Boy, I tell you, every time I get this mic on, it's Sunday afternoon.
Somebody check that mic for spelling.
Yeah. I haven't been up since 2, so if I slur my words, it's my own problem. Social Security amendments. Now, Medicare and Medicaid, this is what was created. I'm not anti-Medicare or Medicaid, but I know when they were created, it was not created for generational
Correct. And it
use.
That's why the people who are against it is because it will become abused.
Yes. Now, my mom is in a nursing home. She's on Medicare. And without that, I don't think my mother would be even alive because she needs.
But also the whole system has set up to revolve around that. Insurance policies, once you come off of, if you're in your 60s and you're about to come off, if you don't get insurance before you come off of your works insurance, you will be on Medicare or Medicaid.
Yeah.
By default. The whole system has developed around it, and we've given our health to the government, and we've seen how that works in Canada. So I think this is a bad thing.
Not working very well there.
It was a bad thing.
Yes. Now, I didn't know this. This is called the Voting Rights Act. It ended the requirement that voters pass a literacy test. I had no idea.
Yep. I'm actually for that. I'm sorry.
Bring back the literacy test.
Bring back a civics test. You have to be able to understand what you're voting for. I'm sorry. I'm all for a civics test. I'm done with it. I'm done pretending.
Okay.
I'm back to teaching civics in high school. They need to teach it in school, man.
That's true.
Shoot.
The Omnibus Housing Act provided housing for low-income Americans. Bad, and very bad. No low-income housing has ever turned out to be a good environment for anybody. Water Quality Act. I like this. Clean up the rivers and the lakes. Pollution, Clean Air Act. New motor vehicles and the emission standards. Higher Education Act provided scholarships and low-interest loans for college students. Yeah, I got a loan. I paid mine off. Charlie paid his off. You know,
Yep.
we didn't ask the government to.
I don't know about this emission standards. I kind of like those. When I had my diesel truck just blowing out all that black.
You like
smoke,
that?
man.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then we have
Continue on. You need to power through.
We're gonna
or
move
Steve will
on.
overpower you.
There you go. Moving on. So here we go. So there's changes in America happening, and then while changes are happening in America, the moon gets a visitor. Go on to our next slide. We have Apollo 11 and the moon landing.
It happened. They did film it also in a studio, but it also happened. So I'm just saying, it also happened. They filmed it in a studio. Do you really think
in the studio?
Do you really think that the United States military would not have also tried to film something in case it went blank and make it look as good as possible? Like they mocked it up too, because they're like, dude, we gotta beat the Soviets. So whether it. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm tired of that debate.
I was going to say at the end, is this, there's conspiracies out there. A lot of people don't believe it. But on July 16th, 1969, Apollo 11 launched from the Kennedy Space Center aboard the massive Saturn V rocket. And guess what? Millions were able to watch this unfold on television. And who was that astronaut? Did we know? 4 days later, astronaut Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface and delivered one of the most famous quotes in history, which is, "That's one small step for man and a giant leap
for mankind." It was a leap.
Yes.
It was a leap for mankind.
And then Buzz Aldrin joined him on the moon.
So Jim Irwin, who my mother knew, she went touring because China would allow him to go and speak and say whatever he wanted. He did a missionary route in China and was given the red carpet. So she went with him and helped him set those up and run those. He says Jesus landing on Earth was more significant than man landing on the moon.
Well, I would agree. Yes,
that one carried weight with the Chinese.
I think that would.
It's kind of cool. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yes. Well, so while the astronauts were walking on the moon, the music industry is going to lose its mind. We're going to be invaded by the Beatles.
Oh boy.
Yes.
The Beatles?
Oh boy.
The Beatles, next one.
Where are they from?
Liverpool, England.
Mars or something?
Ooh, 1960. Well, they thought so. Some of the older people thought so.
I bet they did.
In 1964, 4 young musicians from Liverpool, England. Their names were John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. And do you know that Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr are still alive today?
Yeah. Yeah, they're still making music.
Yeah, they're still alive today.
Paul McCartney is responsible for my least favorite guilty pleasure Christmas song. Do you remember what that is, Mr. Producer?
No.
Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time. It is the most vain, empty, silly Christmas song, but it sounds really good.
Well, if you saw that picture, if you put that picture back up,
We'll have to do a song review.
Bang, bang, bang.
this is what the change here is. These girls screaming and acting like this, and I mean they were kind of like a idol. This is where the idols came in.
Yeah.
The excitement over them became known as Beatlemania.
You're clipping that.
There you go.
Continue on. Mr. Producer's going to clip that noise.
We'll use that one.
That noise that Steve did. He's going to be his new intro. Continue on.
Oh no! But even today, their songs remain among the most popular ever recorded in history. So, but did you know? Recently, we had a No Kings protest, but we actually did have a king, the king of rock and roll.
That's
Go on to the
right.
next one.
Oh man.
Elvis
Bring on the Elvis.
Presley.
Money.
Yes. Now,
Show.
Elvis has been around for a little bit, but he ended
Well, he's
up.
still in Las Vegas.
You know, he came
yes.
to Port Arthur.
Yeah, I believe it.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure did.
You know what, women out there, when your husband sends you out for your birthday with your friends, and then Elvis shows up to sing to you, it's kind of embarrassing. Just to let y'all know.
No, I'm just going to
It
say.
didn't happen to me, but it happened to someone else. I know.
I was in a room with an Elvis impersonator. I was running a show for some local politicians, and the women were making faces and doing things that, frankly, if men had done that over a Marilyn Monroe copy, oh my gosh, it would have been all over the news.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
No surprise.
Bunch of old ladies fawning and waving their hand in front of their,
Yep. Yep.
If a man had done that,
It'd been different. It would sure have.
I'm just saying.
And I know that.
No surprise.
Here's my dad again. That back then, when the women were acting like that with the Beatles and Elvis, they were like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
The guys are like, "What's wrong with you?" But anyway, in the 60s and 70s, Elvis became a worldwide icon. He blended gospel music, country music, rhythm and blues, rock music into a sound that appealed to millions. When you say Elvis Presley, everybody knows who Elvis Presley is. He's been dead for years and years, but everybody knows who he is.
I would say has he, but then again, Michael Jackson dating his daughter is proof that he was dead. Because Elvis would have killed my MJ. But anyway, continue on.
Okay, we're going to talk about. I just mentioned my dad. I'm going to tell you who my dad's first remote control. Go on to the next one. Television becomes America's common experience. My dad had a remote control at the beginning. Her name was Nikki. And he would sit on the couch and yell, "Nikki, come change the channel for me." I kid you not. That's the truth. Television becomes America's common experience. Now this, in the 60s and 70s, everybody had a television. And so they're watching the news. They can witness presidential debates, civil rights demonstrations, the protest against the Vietnam War, the Apollo moon landing. It connected people in a way to events that never did before. So also brought in sitcoms, westerns, variety programs, and news broadcasts. Who was the big news guy at that time?
Walter
Cronkite.
There you go.
I remember having to run outside and go adjust the antenna.
Oh, I forgot about the antenna, yes.
Did you ever put the foil on it?
Yes.
Make sure you get
No,
the
I'm
extra little
talking
bit
about the one you had outside.
Oh, you had a big yag?
Yeah, big one that stood up on a big pole, and you'd have to run outside and turn it. And you'd holler out the door, "Okay, me.
Yeah.
Little bit that way. And you'd
Yeah.
have to turn it.
And then you just got to the point where you could listen to Walter say, and that's the way it was on this 23rd day of June, 1975.
Correct.
Yep.
Well, moving into our next one, midday soap operas are going to lose some of their audience.
Whoa.
Yes, women are entering into the workplace and demand equality. So if you look at the next slide here, this is really interesting. You will see the one off in the corner, the bottom corner there. That blue line represents 25 to 54-year-olds who in 1970, look how that dramatically increases into the workplace. They're moving now, into offices and to other work. If you look at the one off to the left there that has the orange and the red, women were normally registered nurses up until 1970. Dental assistants, cashiers, elementary and middle school teachers. But now look, pharmacists. After 1970, from 2006 to 2010, that red line, that's how many pharmacists women. Accountants, computer programmers. I thought this was interesting how they're kind of even. Physicians and surgeons, lawyers, judges, police officers, civil engineers. Now, one thing about women going into the workplace, and all of us can agree on this, there was a lot of discrimination.
Sure.
And what they said was, if she was married, her husband had an income, so I don't have to pay her as much. She may be doing the same job that a man is doing, but they would pay her less.
Well, and they made that illegal.
They did. They had to during this time.
Yeah.
But-
It's been illegal for a long time, thankfully.
Yes.
But there was a time.
There was a time that they did this.
There was a time.
And also, there's sexual discrimination in offices. So there's a lot of things that took place when women went into the workplace and demand equality. If you're a woman and you have the same experience and the same education, you deserve the same pay. But if you don't deserve the same pay if you don't have the experience or the education that a man does.
And if you don't fight for the raise and you don't say, how can I add value and so that I could get more money so I could feed my family, then you won't also get it as well.
That's correct.
And statistically, men do that more.
That's correct.
Just
Moving on to the next one. There
Viva
are
the difference.
bugs in the workplace. Bugs in the workplace.
Ooh.
Yes, Nixon and Watergate.
He was a naughty boy.
I hear they
Oh,
run
yeah.
for cover when you turn the lights on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Richard Nixon in the White House in 1969. By the way, there was a period of division caused by the Vietnam War, social unrest. One thing he did do that nobody ever talks about is he opened relations with China. But because of Watergate, that's all he's remembered for. And this was when Nixon's reelection campaign were caught breaking into a Democratic Party headquarters at Watergate. And there's a bunch of secret tapes that went on that were reviewed that revealed what was going on. And Nixon had to resign on August 8th, 1974, becoming the first American president to leave office voluntarily.
And he shouldn't have. I'm just going to say it. He shouldn't have. He was right. He was okay. He was fine. He should have just
he would have
outed
been
the guys.
impeached.
He should have outed the guys that done it and moved on.
You don't think he would have been impeached?
Maybe. But
I think he would have.
But I think it would have given Republicans a lot more of a spine a lot longer ago.
Oh.
Trump doing this has been a good thing. If we had had this amount of muscular determination in the Republican Party, we wouldn't have slid nearly as far. Nixon was trying to uphold something that the Democrats weren't interested in at that point.
Okay.
Hot take of the day.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Next, we're going to hug a tree and save the earth. Moving on to segment
Tree
8.
huggers?
Yeah, Earth Day and the environmental movement. Now,
Oh, boy.
I will just say, April 22nd, 1970, the first Earth Day was celebrated. Millions of Americans participated in events across the country.
Wow.
New environmental laws were passed. There's some good things. We talked about pollution. We want to preserve our water. We want to preserve our air, clean water. These are good things. We want to protect our wildlife. As a matter of fact, Steve, I went walking this morning. I saw 12 to 15 deer. 2 young bucks, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Had some good.
But
good
she didn't
antlers.
bring any home.
And a baby fawn.
Well,
baby fawn.
Did you go to Gander Mountain and actually get her a good rifle for her car?
I've got one.
No, for her car.
Oh,
so
no.
so how could she have brought one home? You got to go
She
out
was
afterward.
walking.
Out. Oh, well then. Okay.
And moving on, but anyway, I just had to say that because
Where was your
of
357 Magnum?
Oh, I don't want
That'll
to
take a
shoot them
deer.
this morning. I just wanted to look at them. They were so beautiful. They were beautiful.
Need a chest rig.
So thinking about our natural
There you go.
resources is a good thing. We've kind of they've gone off the deep end. We all know that a lot of this is political, and they've gone off.
Well,
the
it's
deep
all
end.
about it's all about depopulation.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly right.
How about mini skirts, long-haired hippies, and casual sex? The
Wow.
next one. Woodstock.
Long-haired hippies.
Long-haired hippies.
Long-haired hippie.
Steve's over there with a ponytail.
You long-haired hippie.
So in 1965, this is on a dairy farm in New York. This is called Woodstock. Attracted hundreds of thousands of young people. And believe it or not, they said that despite how overcrowded it was, there was very little problems. Very peaceful event. But
Doesn't surprise me.
yeah, the Woodstock generation, they were protesting the Vietnam War. Everything was about love, peace, freedom, social change. Good ideas, but they did a lot of drugs, experimenting with drugs.
That was the utopian.
Well, yeah, I was going to say well-intentioned.
I like that.
But disconnected from
Reality.
From reality.
And responsibility.
Because the primary issue was, I agree with the hippie generation in this one sense. Vietnam was a lost cause because it was set up from the beginning
to be
a lost cause.
Yes,
correct.
And there was no reason for them to go over and die. And so I have nothing against a draft dodger for the Vietnam War. I really don't, because I empathize with them. But the ultimate response that they had to a very bad situation, I don't agree with philosophically.
Well, and I think a lot of them don't agree with that either.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe so.
It didn't work out. A lot of it didn't work out. And there was a revival that happened after that too.
Yeah, with the Jesus Revolution.
It was. So, all right. Here we go. Here's a thought. I want to order food, receive my food under 5 minutes, and not have to drive far for it.
Oh,
Go to
where's
the next one.
McDonald's?
Here you go. Yes, fast food, suburbs, and modern American life. Well, we all know about that, don't we? So, in the 70s was the growth of the suburbs, which changed where Americans live. Unfortunately, this is a sad thing that Charlie and I talk about all the time. We were raised in farm country in Western New York. My parents didn't have a farm, but we had 15 acres of land. Charlie's parents had a farm and had 180 acres of land. And then his aunt and uncle had a farm. Everybody had land. I had my neighbors that are closest to me were a farmer. And so I couldn't yell to my neighbor. They were too far away. But because of Charlie's work, we moved south and we have lived in the suburbs. And that was the worst thing I remember when my kids were outside, like, oh my goodness, you don't have hardly any place to play. You're not going to,
Yeah, because we had huge yards.
Yes, we did. We did. So the growth of suburbs changed where Americans lived, new housing development, which also automobile ownership increased, making travel easier, but jobs came more to the cities, and so people lived in the suburbs to travel into the city or a large town or whatever. And then you had the malls that came up, and just the modern living that we have today is pretty much started back in the 70s. So you can see by 1975, America is dramatically different than it started in 1959. And that is our history for this week. We're in 1975. We're moving right along.
You know what's really interesting about that is, I think your point's well made, that the way we're living today really got a lot of basis in the 70s. And look how it's changing again. Going away from the brick and mortar stores to online.
Online.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of a whole new shift in swing.
We are and it's sad because and for those of us that live in Texas, we can drive through small town Texas and we can see the abandoned buildings.
Yeah.
We can see the storefronts that used to be vibrant and thriving, and they're shadows now.
Let me just say this, because you made a good point. But when we go home to Western New York,
Oh, it's sad.
your farm,
Oh, it's
the
sad.
farm that he grew up on is abandoned.
Caved in.
It's the farm and the house, and his aunt and uncle's farm. Nobody lives there anymore. Major number of farmers have gone out of business.
Yep.
And
what's put it there? Democratic policies that make it impossible
to compete
to
against
live and compete.
Well, it's to compete against the Chinese influence, which is subsidized labor, which is effectively slave labor.
so, and let me just say this about small town America. If we were to go there to where his farm is, on that 180 acres of land, you have to drive an hour to 2 hours to get a decent job. There's no workaround.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the taxes, his brother, according to his brother, the taxes on that place is $8,000 a year.
Yep.
Tell me how you're going to afford that.
Yep. Well, that's why Massachusetts is dying. I was just out there for a wedding, and my friends out there are having to drive 1 to 2 hours each way.
Yes.
For their commutes because all of the jobs are dying.
Yes.
And that's because of Democrat policies and high taxes are driving out the businesses.
I got one of my buddies that I hunt with, have hunted with for 30 years plus. He lives, just moved, I'd say probably 8-9 years ago to Marlin, Texas. That's a dying town.
Yep.
Most of everything in downtown is like closed.
Yeah.
Everything in downtown it's all closed down Main Street.
This is what happens with globalization, and that's why we got to fight it. This has been some really good facts with Nikki Knows Facts.
There you go.
And now we have some shenanigans with Steve.
Whoa.
I can go shoot me a buffalo.
Nope.
Stay out of my garbage can. Damn, I'll keep it to myself.
We're adding to that at the end.
And stay out of my garbage can. Now, one thing you need to remember, I'd like to add here. On our first clip you have here, there be monsters. Okay, now I want to remind y'all.
That's not a monster
Take a
mosquito.
walk. Now, hey, that there, if you're walking in the woods, that is a monster.
Oh, yeah.
That dude
yes.
right there has
They'll
got
tear you up.
3.5-inch teeth on him. Okay. That son of a gun, 3.5-inch teeth. That dude right there will eat you in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Man, I am not killing you.
Punch the bones.
And tear you to shreds and put about 8,000 stitches in you in about 3 seconds.
And they're a wonderful breeding ground for skeeters because they like to hang around and
You
eat.
bet. And everywhere they hang is Skeeter City. And we're going to tell you how to keep away from those skeeters and keep them away from your house, too. Now, first one we're going to talk about is one thing that is absolutely wonderful that
Blissful.
most people love to smell.
Bring on the
Lavender.
Lavender.
Except for Steve.
Except for me.
You
and
don't-
people
you don't like
that
lavender?
are
Oh,
epileptics. If you're an epileptic, I'm going to tell you right now, lavender's not a good thing to have around because it will cause you to have seizures.
They had that at the wedding. You could like stick your face in there. I'm like, hey, Mom, does this smell like chloroform? No, it smells
Now,
like lavender.
lavender smell is actually an odor that will cause epileptics to have seizures because epileptics, their noses are affected by odor, and it's one of the odors that cause you to have.
But it's
I
a
won't
beautiful
ask
smell.
you if a lavender bag
I
smells like
appreciate
chloroform.
that. I had to get rid of all lavender in the house, so
Sorry.
yeah, it was a bummer. So I kind of like lavender, but lavender
Keeps away the skeeters.
keeps them away actually, and it's a great thing to have. Man, I used to have bunches of lavender around the house. Had to pull it all up. And the thing about lavender is linalool. It has an oil in it that is called linalool.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
That is the oil that is used in it, and it's actually an oil that is a very volatile oil. Okay, and you can trim the lavender and brush against it, and the linalool gets out into the air, and it creates like a shield area around, and this linalool gets out into the air, and it keeps the mosquitoes away.
Mosquitoes don't like it.
They don't like linalool at all. It's like an insecticide type, works like an insecticide, and they do not like linalool at all. It's real volatile, so it gets out into gets misty and just evaporates into the air. So works very well from what I understand from the research I've done.
Linalool is a terpene alcohol.
Yes.
Terpene.
Very volatile. Gets into the air.
I'm like, okay, Amazon, can I get a bunch of this?
Yeah, I like it. So while he's buying on his cart, let's keep going.
Next one, Captain.
Ooh.
Basil.
Ooh.
Now, last week we talked about holy basil. This week we're talking about cinnamon and lemon basil.
Do they have an odor too?
Do it?
Do they have an odor too?
Yes.
Wow.
They have an oil that is plant-based, and it's an insecticide. It works as the oil in it is very volatile. So it's also a very volatile oil that evaporates into the air, okay? And what's good about basil is you can plant it near, say, like water sources. And the oil, as it falls out, as it gets out, it falls onto your water sources, okay? And it will help in those water sources to kill the larvae in the water. The oil from not like huge, large pools like ponds or anything. I'm talking like bird baths or small puddles and stuff that congregate in areas and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Not giant bodies of water, and what it does is it's like an insecticide, and it kills off the larvae.
Oh, wow.
And helps keep the larvae from growing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Very interesting.
Very, very good.
I think
it's good stuff. But that is
lavender.
cinnamon and lemon basil.
Basils.
Okay,
Cinnamon and
specifically cinnamon and
Mr.
lemon
Shirley, are you going to add that
basil.
to your cart?
There you go.
I think the lavender oil is top so far. What's the next one you
Okay,
got?
next one. This is going to look familiar. Lemongrass.
We like lemongrass now.
Okay. Last week we had lemongrass. We were eating lemongrass and we were stir frying it, and we were using it to keep away the snakes.
Yep.
Now
Not only that, we're going to keep away snakes, but we're going to keep away mosquitoes also.
I think we need some lemongrass.
Now,
You
the
can't
thing
eat your
about
lemongrass and have it too, though. So
What's
you
that?
You can't eat your lemongrass and have it too. So you got to cook lots of it.
you got to cook you got to stir fry it though.
Yeah.
When you're going, okay. But the thing about it is, it's the citronella
Oh.
Interesting.
in the lemongrass.
Okay.
Interesting.
So when you eat a bunch of it, you just kind of like
exude it.
heat your finger up, and the citronella burns off.
We do
the
not
finger.
recommend
that's
that you
a
do
joke,
that.
folks. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Right. Let's not be burning off those fingers.
And that doesn't include gas. Okay, you don't excrete citronella gas.
Steve is not a licensed medical professional.
No.
As you can tell. Continue on, Mr. Producer.
Next one, sir.
Ooh,
And
rosemary.
Rosemary again. We had this one last week. Getting rid of snakes and pests.
And that's handy to have around for your steaks, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Rosemary and thyme.
Now, the thing that's interesting about rosemary is, like we talked about last week, is you can make a hedge with rosemary. What's great about it is it's like a bush. It's real woody, got heavy bush branches.
Yeah.
And it'll grow just like a hedge, and you can trim it just like a hedge, turn it into a bush or a hedge. And when you keep it trimmed, it lets off a lot of, how I want to say, well, what it lets off is camphor and eucalyptol.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. And it's very volatile with its oils. So what it does is it puts it out there into the air and creates a big screen out, real far out. And the eucalyptol and the camphor help keep the mosquitoes away. Not only that, what it does is it affects their senses. That's what affects the mosquitoes. All of these oils so far are affecting the mosquito's sense, which also affect a snake's sensory organs.
I think we need to get some
and a
lemongrass and
mosquito's
rosemary.
sensory organs.
Get some thyme there so you could do your reverse sears on your steak.
Absolutely.
Grow a little bit of thyme and a little basil you got working.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Man, you got your steak stuff set up.
We'd have all
man.
the good stuff around the
More
house.
steaks,
That's
less
it, man.
snakes. That's what I always say.
There you go.
Man, big time.
That was good.
All right, next one.
No snakes.
More
Next
steaks.
one, sir. And
Oh,
peppermint.
how about some peppermint tea?
Exactly. Now, what's interesting about peppermint naturally is one of the best for rubbing onto your body. For the oil, the peppermint oil, you can take the plant, especially the ones where the new buds or the little flowers are starting to grow. You take those, you crush them up, and you rub the oil that's coming out and rub it on your body. And that peppermint oil will instantly start getting rid of mosquitoes on you. Peppermint is one of the only ones that is known to instantly start
Wow.
keeping
Josiah needs
mosquitoes away from you.
So why do they sell 100% DEET as opposed to peppermint oil?
I wouldn't buy this
Because
peppermint. Rub it on.
Well, I want to try it before I go into the deep woods with it.
See, I'm thinking about Josiah because Josiah was like
Their son.
yeah,
Context for the people.
our youngest son, and mosquitoes would come to him like he was a sugar cube. I mean, they thought he was the ultimate in.
You just stood next to Josiah, that way you wouldn't get mosquitoes.
Yeah,
They'd all go to
They'd
you.
all go to him. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, he and I would be out in the woods together. I would see that all the time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But Lisa grows peppermint,
Does she?
and
the thing about
His mother-in-law.
peppermint is it's very invasive.
Oh.
When you grow it.
Oh.
So you got
It spreads.
Gotta watch it.
You got to watch it a lot. We used to grow peppermint in a flower bed at the house, and it did good on keeping mosquitoes away. But when I mowed it,
It went
it
everywhere.
would grow out into the yard. Boy, it smelled so good, man. But the oils from mowing it
Yeah.
would help keep mosquitoes away all the time, constantly. And those volatile oils creates a big screen out, and it helps keep the mosquitoes away. And it's the oils from these plants that are so volatile
Okay, now
that work so good.
So what's the next one?
go ahead.
And the next one, Captain,
Marigolds.
does that look familiar? Marigolds. Marigolds, I think we had that last week.
That was last week.
Now,
Yeah, we
the
did.
First one.
interesting thing about marigolds, folks, is that not only are they beautiful, but you plant them all around everything, okay? Around flower beds, around gardens, around sidewalks, wherever. Farmers, if you look in places, man, you'll see where the Romans, the Greeks, all old cultures used and planted marigolds. It was one of their favorite flowers to plant. And the reason being was they kept mosquitoes away, and the oil and scent that comes off the flower is very, very volatile, and it comes out and keeps the mosquitoes away.
Interesting.
And the last one, as we showed this one, are mosquito dunks.
What?
This is not natural, but they're made from like a natural type of product. These you can buy, and this is for standing water that you have in various places that you might have. These things do not hurt your animals, your fish, your birds, or any other kind of animal that will drink from any of the water. You can throw them in any kind of water, a pond, it doesn't matter what kind of water it is, and that stuff will not harm any kind of animals. If you have farm animals, you can throw it in their water tanks. It will kill the larvae. It will keep the mosquitoes and kills the larvae. Boom. But it will not hurt the animals that drink the water. That's what's neat about the mosquito dunks. And that is, folks, your Steve Shenanigans
There you go.
for this Sunday.
That's,
And keeping mosquitoes away naturally, folks.
I love it.
As a response to your questions, now we have a song review.
Yeah.
Somehow we lost.
We lost the audio.
You gotta turn that on, bud.
It's because I don't play piano. I play guitar. That's why.
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
why. So you've edited it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and swap it over and let's get going. What song
Alrighty.
you got for us?
So before we get into it, just quick reminder why we do this segment. Mr. Charlie touched on it a bit earlier, but music is a very important, big part of life. It is everywhere. It is a form of media we consume. And as Mr. Charlie alluded to earlier, it's very important to watch the media we consume as Christians, not just what we listen to, but what we watch, what we read, all of it. And music, I would say, is probably the biggest piece of media we consume. And today's song, we do this to be analytical, not critical, just as a reminder. And today's song is Next Thing You Know by Jordan Davis. For those that don't know, he is pretty big in the country music community. And I chose this song today because I think it really shows where our culture's at nowadays. And it's, for the most part, I think it's a pretty wholesome song. It's about going through a person's life, them meeting their spouse, having kids, grandkids, about how fast life goes. And but there are some questionable life choices made by the person in this song that I think really shows some problems in our culture. So let's dive into it here. Verse 1, you swear that you're staying single. Next thing you know, you meet a girl at a bar, and next thing you know, you get her laughing. It's 2 a.m. You're telling your buddies 3 months in that she ain't moving in. Next thing you know, there's a U-Haul trailer. The next thing you know, your old apartment is y'all's new place. There goes the carpet, but the deer head stays. Now, Mr. Charlie, this is what, after the show last week, I spoke to you about this, and it was because of this song. Very popular thing to do nowadays, a very typical thing in the dating courtship process is living together before marriage, correct?
Yep, it is. And that became a thing. I want to say it gained a lot of traction back in the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
Really.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be, so you'll actually see in the late 50s, early 60s, a decrease in the shotgun wedding. And so there was they would go from children being born at 7 months into marriage versus children being born out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
So it's foolish to pretend that it didn't happen before.
Yep.
But what you would see is that they stopped holding kids accountable to get married when they did the deed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of that came about because of the pill. The pill allowed people to have indiscriminate, intimate relationships without the natural product of that, the actual pursuit of that relationship, which was children.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was very interesting because if you listen to the song, it sounds very, kind of gives up a bit of a wholesome vibe, and it's just very sad that that's the typical thing
Well,
to
the thing
do
that
nowadays.
strikes me about this particular song is that, yeah, there's some wholesome things in here. Do I want to be meeting my spouse at the bar? That would be question one.
That too, yeah.
But
no.
the bigger question for me is, why is God left out of this? He is the one that gives.
Mm-hmm.
He is the one that pulls that person to you.
Yes.
And
that's my problem with a lot of country music artists. Like, a lot of them claim to, I'm not questioning their salvation or anything like that, but a lot of them claim to be Christians, to know God, but then the stuff they sing about,
They're afraid to, because they're afraid of turning off their audience.
That's it.
They need
That's
to make,
it.
they
And
need
there's
money.
this secularization thing that has occurred where people. So Owl City is a great example of this. Adam Young,
oh, love Owl City.
who is basically the sole proprietor of Owl City. He brought people in for spots, but he would slip in worship hymns that he wrote and actual hymns into his albums, and he ultimately got blackballed for it.
Mm-hmm.
So he made his money. He did fine. But Fireflies, he did
Good
that thing,
Time.
Good Times with Carly Rae Jepsen. He made his money. But you'll see that a lot of these people, they try to do the right thing and they end up getting blackballed. So
Yeah.
it's an understandable situation.
Yep.
Very sad, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's unfortunately how the world is. Let's see, going into the first chorus, next thing you know, you're saving money like never before just to spend it all at a jewelry store, getting down on one knee on her mama's porch, just praying she don't say no. Next thing you know, your best man gives a half-drunk speech and you're sunburnt on a honeymoon beach, and your left hand's getting used to that ring, and there the next 2 or 3 years go. Next thing you know.
I mean, hey, it's at least promoting a actual committed lifestyle.
That's true.
Yep.
I like it.
That's true.
Yep.
I like it. It's a fun song.
Yeah. Verse 2, you weren't really trying. Next thing you know, there's a test on the counter. Next thing you know, she's standing there crying, nodding her head yes. You're half excited, half scared to death. And then second chorus, because next thing you know, you're wearing scrubs and a funny white hat, and the doctor's saying, how you doing there, Dad? And nobody's ever called you that. And you take that drive home slow. And the next thing you know, it's first steps, first date, first car. It's 11:01, wondering where they are. You're saying that USC's too far. That's a college. It's amazing how fast 17 years go. Next thing you know, next thing you know. Now to the parents in the room, is that relatable? Is that?
Yeah, that's relatable.
I think that is.
Yeah.
it goes
think that
fast.
is.
Yeah.
It goes fast when
Real fast.
it
Yep.
does, and you can't go back. So make it count while you're there.
Be intentional.
Yeah, that's part of the message of this song, which
Yeah.
is pretty good.
That's good. It's
pretty
good.
All right.
For country, it's pretty level-headed. We like it.
Yeah.
Yes. I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
Okay, sorry. And then into the bridge, next thing you know, you get to know your wife again, and you're more in love than you've ever been, with a lot of years of remember whens and still some down the road. Now this line here, you get to know your wife again.
That means when
I
the
hope
kids have
not.
left home. The kids have left home,
Right.
and it's just the two of
It's
you.
not a separation issue.
Yeah, but I feel like it's saying like you want to date your spouse even after you're married.
Guess what
Like,
doesn't
you don't-
happen with most couples?
Yeah.
You'll learn that.
Yes, but you want to. It's not like when the kids leave, you want to be like, oh, you're still here, and then have to get to know them again. You want to keep dating them, keep
Yeah.
pursuing them, even in marriage. I know it's difficult with kids and all that.
No,
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
Things
I'm sorry.
change.
Whoa. What did you just say?
It's difficult with kids.
Oh, I
And
coulda
all
swore-
of that, like it's a small
I
thing.
could have swore he said it was like it's difficult if you
that
have
wrong?
kids. No, you're spot on right, and that's
Okay.
the issue right there, Ryan. Is
Sometimes your reactions, it's hard to tell. Are you upset with me,
no,
or am I right?
I wanted to nail that point because that right there, for young people when they get married and they say that they're only going to have one or two. Okay, I would say, boy, wish you would consider more. But there is a difficulty that comes with it that goes beyond just the issue of finances. It's the issue of relationship. Because now you're not spreading a relationship to one or two. You might be spreading it to 5, 6, 7. And you've got to have a healthy way of making sure you maintain it, not just with your kids, but with your spouse. So, yeah, it's a
I know
challenge.
couples who go to bed at 8 just so that they have the 8 to 9 with each other.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amen.
Yep.
I
And that's why
think
they put the
right.
kids down at like 7:30, just so that they get the 8.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can actually do that though every night, but that's what they strive
Well,
for.
and then the kids sit there and they stay up all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And then
Right.
kind of
And
reminds
then
me.
you got to keep going into the bedroom telling your kids to go
Knock
to
it
bed.
off.
Yep.
It kind of reminds me of something my cousin told me she and her husband do. They always try to make sure they have a time alone together, but also time just themselves with the kids just around them, seeing them love each other, showing them what a good, godly relationship looks like, that mommy and daddy actually love each other.
Yep.
Good. Very good.
And then the last chorus, next thing you know, you got a yard full of your kids' kids, and you take them to church, teach them to fish, and you tell them stories every chance you get about how fast this life down here can go. Next thing you know, next thing you know.
That actually,
a good song.
that chorus right there kind of summarized the essence of it. I go back to, where's God in all this?
That's it. Yeah, I was like, okay, it's wonderful
It's
that
country.
you take them to church.
I get
now,
it.
But
It's
I get it.
country. It's country.
where was God in like up to that point, like throughout this whole life, this whole song? Like
But
he should have been
it's
there from the
country.
beginning.
The final thought I've got on this is the one thing that I think about is that, to me, if we're not careful, we take a song like that, and if we normalize it,
Well, internalize some of the potentials. Yeah, it's possible.
yeah,
You want to be aware and clear, but don't crucify the song. It's fine.
yeah,
It gets 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Pretty good one, I'd say.
2
Especially
thumbs up for country.
country.
For country.
Yeah.
Like for,
Not-
for,
not
for
bad
modern
country.
country. For modern country, it gets 2 thumbs up. That's awesome.
It's a good
true, yes.
relationship song.
It's a good song.
Yep.
So that's been the song review. Let's move through the screw tape letters swiftly, briefly. Let's get it
The
done.
screw tape letter.
Let's go ahead and move on to the book corner. We're doing Screw Tape Chapter 30. Real quick, if you are just joining us and you have not gone through this with us before, quick overview. The Screw Tape letters are a series of correspondence between 2 demons. Screw Tape is the elder, Wormwood is the younger, the apprentice. In these correspondence, Screw Tape encourages Wormwood in how best to tempt Wormwood's human patient, a young man in the World War II era of Britain. In this thread of conversation, Lewis explores the base temptations of man and how Satan and his tempters may indeed think about our mortal state and how best to tempt us. So, chapter 30 is the issue of hope, or the issue of the real, and versus the issue of hope, if you will. So, Wormwood has gotten this serious letter from Screw Tape. Unfortunately, Wormwood's human has met a woman, a pretty woman, a nice woman, a Christian woman, and he has a lot of hope. His life is full. However, World War II kicks in, and this is where we pick up. So we're picking up the correspondence from something that we haven't read, because that's the way Lewis lays this out. Let's start off in chapter 30. My dear Wormwood, Screw Tape writes, when you're ready. I sometimes wonder whether you think you've been sent into the world for your own amusement. I gather not from your miserably inadequate report, but from that of the infernal police, that the patient's behavior during the first raid has been the worst possible. He has been very frightened and thinks himself a great coward, and therefore feels no pride. But he has done everything his duty demanded, and perhaps a bit more. Against this disaster, all you can produce on the credit side is a burst of ill temper with a dog that tripped him up, some excessive cigarette smoking, and forgetting a prayer. But what is the use of whining to me about your difficulties? If you are proceeding on the enemy's idea of quote unquote justice and suggesting that your opportunities and intentions should be taken into account, then I am not sure that a charge of heresy does not lie against you. At any rate, you will soon find that the justice of hell is purely realistic and concerned only with results. Bring us back food or be food yourself. Lewis lays out in this the potential idea that where demons might, the entities of hell might have the most solace for their torment is the torment of others. I don't know if I believe that. I think it's fun, and it reads for a fun, delicious script to read. But notice how he says he feels cowardly, but he did his duty.
Mm-hmm.
That is a normal feeling in battle. That's a good thing.
Right.
Continuing. The constructive passage in your letter is where you say that you still expect good results from the patient's fatigue. That is well enough, but it won't fall into your hands. Fatigue can produce extreme gentleness and quiet of mind, and even something like vision. If you have often seen men led by it into anger, malice, and impatience, that is because those men have had efficient tempters. The paradoxical thing is that moderate fatigue is a better soil for peevishness than absolute exhaustion. This depends partly on the physical causes, but partly on something else. It is not fatigue simply that produces the anger, but unexpected demands on a man already tired. Whatever men expect, they soon come to think that they have a right to. The sense of disappointment can, with very little skill on our part, be turned into a sense of injury. It is after men have given in to the irredeemable, after they have despaired of relief and ceased to even think, even a half hour ahead, that the danger of humbled and gentle weariness begins. To produce the best results from the patient's fatigue, therefore, you must feed him with false hopes. Now, for the sake of today, I actually want to settle on this for just a moment, and we're actually going to revisit this chapter next week. But this is an important note that Lewis is pulling. It is easier for us to sin when we are mildly fatigued than when we are sincerely fatigued because of the perceived injustice, real or not, that something that was owed to us was taken. And he goes on later on to give some examples. But when you're tired and you just want to sit down and enjoy a movie on Sunday afternoon, and someone calls you with an emergency.
Like
Charlie's
you.
shaking his head right now. Kind of like what?
That happens.
Yeah.
And as a Christian, you feel that responsibility. Respond.
But you can feel very sour about it.
Very sour about it.
So that's something that I think is really important to take away this week. We need to be thinking about it from this perspective. Are we actually owed what we think we're owed? Is your time your own? Do you have a right to be offended when your time is, quote unquote, taken from you?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes you do. And especially if it's somebody else's irresponsibility.
But more often than not, we take offense at things that we don't need to. And even when it is just, we're not called to take offense. We're called to act honorably.
A lot of times,
There's a difference
way
between-
often more.
There's a difference between just anger, right? And becoming bitter, becoming angry at something that's an inconvenience. So this week, I kind of want to leave us with that thought of, are you really the owner of your time, or are you the steward? And if God brings something along, are you the owner or are you the steward? And if God is going to use you for an emergency, or if someone's going to come along and they're going to take up your time, even incorrectly, you are a steward
Well,
of your
when you
time.
say when you say steward, a good steward doesn't just give his time if
I
it's
agree.
not, sometimes you have to sit back and say, I'm just not available for you right now.
But don't take offense.
But when
That's
God
the
calls
primary issue.
you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Totally.
That,
agreed.
I tell you what, over many years, once I was saved, even after the first, I'd say, few number of years, I didn't make that call of when I was being called to do stuff. I didn't answer that call of doing.
Because you're look, I deserve my rest. I deserve my moment. Whatever it is, I deserve me, my. If that's where it comes from, that's a bad place to be. Final thoughts for the day.
Well, just kind of to share what you're talking about there. I always have the thing that I get up early in the morning to do my devotions, and I exercise. Because if I'm going to be good for anybody else, I have to be good to myself first. Not in a selfish thing, but
Sure.
I need to be spiritually right. I need to make sure I work on my health. And then I go out into the day for other people.
Yep.
And that's what stewardship is. Making sure that, if you're going to run people around in your vehicle, you got to make sure that your vehicle runs.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Final thoughts for the day, Steve.
Yeah, just kind of listening to what you were saying there at the end about being a good steward or an owner. And I would say we're not even owners of ourselves, to tell you the truth. God owns us, and we are beholden to him totally. Personally, I owe everything to God and to Jesus, everything that I owe, everything I have. Man, I'll tell you, from the things I have done and the way my life has gone here over the past few years, man, I couldn't ask for more. He has done me so well, especially
Amen.
over the things I've gone through over the past few years and what's happened. So, amen, brother. I tell you.
That's good.
Ryan, final thoughts for the day.
I really liked Mr. Charlie talking about AI today, especially when he said that it's an amoral thing, just like technology, just like so many other things that people freak out about, like, oh, it's so evil, and it's just really, it depends how you use it. It depends how you use it. I think that's a really good message for a lot of people nowadays. It's
Put
a really
the
good
agency
reminder,
back on
and-
the people.
Huh?
Yeah.
Put the agency back to the humans.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
AI is not evil. It's what you are doing with it.
Yeah.
Like anything else.
Yeah.
And I think that right there is probably the key point. What is the motivation?
That's it.
Because when you look at the Tower of Babel, what was that motivation? I will ascend up and be. Yeah.
Hey, let me go knock on the door. Here I am.
It wasn't the tower itself, it was the people building it.
Yep. Yeah.
And the purpose. Yep.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
That's your thought. So, final
Right on.
thoughts for the day from me. Make sure you know what you're taking in, whether it's the songs that you sing, whether it is the news that your eyes behold and then your mouth or your fingers repeat. Make sure you understand what you are sending people. More than ever, people need truth. They need to know truth himself.
Amen.
Christ is the truth.
Amen, John.
We need to be accurate reflections of the truth. That includes the memes you send, the little pieces of news that you send, what you repeat to people. Make sure that you know we're living in a world of AI slop and bad news. Just horribly miscut news, whether it's Mr. Metcalf being clipped out of context when he says, literally, you guys are going to clip me out of context. You want to go for it? Go ahead. I dare you to clip this out of context. They do it. It's a whole news cycle. We need to be truthful. We need to be the bearers of the truth. And that's because the truth has a name. His name is Jesus Christ. With that said, we got anything else for you. You have a wonderful and beautiful week. Thank you so much.